Hello everyone and welcome to a new Decode tutorial. Today I'm really happy to announce that Cables, the Cables.gl team has finally released a standalone version of the tool, meaning that we can of course use Cables in our browser, but can also download now an Electron build of the app that basically allow us to connect, to go around the browser. So it means that it's easier to install sensors, to connect to all the NPM packages that you can think of directly within Cables, and you don't even need internet to develop anymore. So this is really interesting, and I think there's like two different use cases for this. I would say most of my time I will still continue to work online because the projects that I want to do, I want to be able to host them and release them to the world. But if I need to do any project that I know I'm going to install on someone's computer for an installation or for myself, I would definitely use the offline version. And the offline version allows you to do so much more, of course, because you're not limited to the browser. But you know the saying with the big responsibility. I forgot what it is, but you have to be careful because it means that you can run arbitrary code now on your own computer. So if it's you develop it, it's fine. If you download it from someone else, you have to be careful because now people could steal your data if you just install any patch without looking before. So how does it work? You go on this standalone URL here, and you just download. So for now, it's just zero. At the time we shoot this video, 0.2, and it's really like a work in progress. So it's gonna get better, and there's still some bugs, but already it is usable, and this is what we're gonna see together here. I also want to highlight that the Cables, by releasing this standalone version, has also made the project fully open source. So it means now that you can go on Cables.gl on GitHub, cables_dev, and you have here like the tutorial to basically download and build Cables, the Electron build yourself with the UI and everything. So there is a tutorial here. It's not that hard, just like basically download and use the script. But it's not really the point of this video. For now, we just try to use the Electron build and make our own ops, but we're not about modifying the project itself. This, if you guys are interested, could be the topic of a future video. So you go here, you download the app, and then when you have it on your computer, you open it, and you have something like this. So let me put this a bit full screen, and it looks like a Cables, like a regular Cables, right? If I do this, I tap the main loop, and here we are, right? I can put a rectangle. I can put like a Lambert material, and I can put a camera. This is something that we saw in the previous tutorials if you're just joining us. So just don't worry, just look at the other tutorials, and you see that I have a rectangle with some kind of shadow here. All right, so far so good. So the main thing about, as I said before, about this offline version is that you can use NPM packages. So if you're not familiar with NPM, this is basically like a repository of where people share their libraries, and you can include them. If you're familiar with Python, it's the equivalent to the pip install command, or you have deployed your code, your library somewhere, and you want to include it. And so let's try to explain how to do this. But first, we need to talk about how to organize the library, how to organize your projects, because it can get very confusing. And the goal here is that you start to develop your own operators locally. And then over time, with many projects, you still have this collection of operators. For now, they are not synced to the one that you have created online. So I have more than 250 onlines that are not there yet, but I know that the team is working on synchronizing both of them. But of course, the ones that are made for the standalone version are not necessarily compatible with the ones you can do online, right? Because one you are in the browser, and the one you are in the app on your computer. So how does it work? So if you want to organize your project, this is what I would suggest. So I'm using on Windows, but you can do it on the Linux or Windows, the WSL, the Linux inside Windows. It works. I tried. What I would recommend we do for now, the time we shoot this video, is you create this project folder and you would put all your projects. A cables project is just the name .cables, which is basically just a big JSON configuration file, right? But if you don't want to, if you want to share your ops between different projects, I made another project and another folder that I call ops, and then inside I'm putting another subfolder depending on the permissions I want to share. So here, this is ops that I want to share with you guys. So I'm having the decode, and here I will have my ops, and they, as you will see, they are also a version, so that if I make a modification to my ops, I can push them to GitHub, and it's never lost, really. So the first thing we will need to do is to include this folder in the project that we are doing. So let's call this, we just save it, right? So I go here, I go on projects. This is a project that I did, but let's say first test, or like this, test, okay? And now I would like to add my repository of ops. So you can add an op directory here, and this is the one by default, but I don't think, I mean, on Windows, this is really hard to go to, so I prefer to add the directory. I go up one level, and I add this decode folder that I already did. So now, if let's reload with Control-R, the patch, I should be able to see some of the ops that I did. And let's try this one. But there's something that is missing. I mean, it's not necessarily installed. I mean, in my case it is. But for you, if you download ops, they will not necessarily be installed. So there's another thing you need to do. So I want to show you, instead of, we're going to use this op here after to do something cool. But I just want to show you from scratch. If you needed to create an op, you're here. You just have a brand new project. You can go there and code a new op. You decide where you want to put it. So let's say test op, right? This is where I want to put it. This is exactly like the regular online cables. If you're not familiar with how to develop ops on cables, please take a look at the videos we did online. And the cool thing about the standalone version is that we can use the built-in, of course, editor that as we did before, but you can also use your local one. So if you, like me, and you have a VS Code because you like to code with other projects, let me try to show how you can do this. So if I simply go to the folder where I have all my ops, I should be able to actually open the folder and code right away. So if I go here, okay. Yeah, I trust this. So this, don't worry about this. I opened it from Linux, but it's actually as a Windows file, but it doesn't really matter. So here, by creating this test op, it created this small folder on my computer. So let me close this here, right? I go back to my VS Code. Now I have the test op, and if I click on the test op.js, this is exactly the content of the op we had before. So if I go here, now let's see. I'm changing the, let's say that the input now, it's a test, right? So I'm gonna say in, I don't know, string. And notice that now, because I am in VS Code, if you have any kind of AI account that is connected to your VS Code using CodeGPT or the GitHub GPT or the chat, you would have the completion here. So that's also giving you some like much needed speed instead of having to code necessarily everything inside the cables editor, right? So you just need to understand that what the API of cables. So I would say for now, I have a special CodeGPT, but for now that is trained on cables. But I mean, we know the API, you have also all the documentation online, but let's say string, and if I save, automatically, I don't need to move to go and reload or anything. This op is reacting to what I just typed. So now if we're a bit smart and we say, hey, I don't know, chat here, I'm gonna say create Cables.gl operator that reverses a string. Probably it's gonna be wrong because it doesn't really know how to use it, but it's already something, right? If you don't know how to reverse a string, okay, we know that we need to do .get to get the content of the string from the port itself, and then we need to, I mean, good practice is to put the input port and output ports there. Reversed. And now I can simply do something like in string dot on change was actually correct. Getting the reverse, blah blah blah, and I'm simply now doing out result dot set. It's get smarter all the time. If I save it, I go here. And you see, we have now our reverse string that is basically built. And of course, the more ops you have, that's why I also need to, I open it with my own ops. Like the code base will be smart enough to understand if you have like good ops that are well coded, how to learn the Cables API basically. So this is a very powerful feature. And I hope that you start to see the potential of having your own editor there, and it's reacting in real time. Now, if I don't like this here, I don't know if I can rename it right now, but let's try. Yeah, I'm not even sure it's possible to rename it from the editor. It's something that should be fairly easy to do afterwards. I just rename the file. Huh? It's not that hard, the folder, but I think this is coming. So far we have created one op. And this is fine. Now let's say that this op needs a library, right? Because that's the, so before, when you go to manage a hop, you would go there and you could upload. These are like browser defined library, and any library that works in the Cables browser can also work here, right? You just can upload it as an asset and add it before, and this will work as before. You also have like all the core libraries. All fine, but this is the new part that you only have on the Cables Electron build. Here you have add dependencies, and let's find one that is simple. I think it's called niceware. So the API is really simple. It's basically a one-liner, but we need to make sure that the number of bytes, so the number we put it here, is even. So it's basically the number of words is this number divided by 2. So okay, we have our API. I'm gonna copy and paste this. I'm gonna go back to my Cables op, and I've already started to do it. So let me start from scratch. The first thing we need to do is that we need to make sure that we use this special Cables way of importing the library, op.require, which is gonna, under the hood, is gonna do the NPM stuff. But before we do this, you also need to specify that the op requires this niceware library. So if you go to manage op, here, this is where you would add the library. I just already typed niceware. You can remove it and type it there. But this is where you're gonna basically download and create a package.json if you really want to know, and then import the libraries. But to import them, we know we need to install them. So the key part here is that when you have required your op, you need to use the command palette, Control P, and type install project NPM packages. And this will install all the ops that, all the libraries that are included with your ops. If you do this, then you would simply reload the patch and will be technically ready to go. If I go here, I should not have any warning or errors, and I can simply start to type what I want. So I know that it's just the number of words, so I can say in count, and I know that it's numbers in integer count, okay? And I know that for output I want the results, which is an array, out array, and we call this names. And in count, when I change this number, I'm triggering this function all the time. I need to get the count number, in count get. I need to make sure that it's not below 0, right? So I need to make sure that the minimum is actually 2. So if C is inferior to basically to 2, then I need to make sure that C equals 2. Right? And else we just need to take we said that the count is the number of words, right? So if it's below 1, then C equals 2, and else we just take the C and we multiply it by 2. So multiply equal 2. Right? And now we should be able to use the passphrase here that we want and replace this by C. Okay. Now, and of course, set the results. Passphrase. Okay. I'm saving this. Yeah, it's warned me, I don't care. Up, I reload just to make sure. So if I say 1, I get 1 name. Okay. And if I put 10, I should get 10 names. I can visualize them. And it works. And we have successfully basically, connected and used an external NPM library here with our patch. That we could not, this one also would have worked in the browser. So I would suggest that instead you would have used the browser version, and then so you develop it online, and then you just synchronize what is not there yet with your local cable. So at least you have it if you need this for your online projects as well. But now let's go back to another patch that I made, just to show you what we can do with it. So it's a simple patch, but I made 2 new ops that are only basically possible from the standalone. One will download an image and save it to a folder on your own local machine. So it's not like if you do on Cables, you save to the downloads folder in your Chrome or Firefox. Here you can specify any folder you want. And this is an API from a library online, a website called fall.ai, which allows you to actually run different models. So let's go here. It's pretty cool if you know about Comfy UI or all this kind of image generation thing. You can just have it as an API. You need to pay, of course, but it's pretty handy. They have this new model that I like, which is called Flux. Maybe you heard about it, and there's the Pro version. So you just you can run it here, and you have like additional settings. But what we want to do here is to not use this playground interface, but use it in our own code. But so why can't you do this in the browser? You can, right? The issue is that you would have to expose your API key. And we don't want to do this. We want to make sure that the API is protected. So there is an API, but you need to set the key. And if you put this on a website, you need to set up like a server so that you can call the server, and the server has the API key, generates the images that you want, and then pass it back to you in the browser. But here, because we are in the standalone and we work on our own computer, it doesn't really matter. We can put the API key here. But, as a precaution, you don't want to put the key right here as a string. What I do is that I load the key from the folder. So what I suggest you guys do, if I go back to my cables, I made this JSON file, which is a simple. So I'll show you the key, but I will delete it after. So don't steal my keys. But I just made this JSON file on my machine, and I would put all my keys here. So this file, you should be careful with it because you don't want to put it on your Git. You don't want people to be able to steal your keys. So I know that this file is, on different. It's not in my projects, not in my ops, so I make sure that it's never going to be versioned anyway. But I can put it here. So if I want to share different secrets from all my projects, I could have also put this in the projects, but it's doesn't matter. Now, if in my cables, I'm just gonna basically load the file, right? I'm gonna browse my computer, get the file, and now because it's just an object, I can simply pick the value that I want, and now I'm passing this as API key for this op. So this op here is exactly the same as what you have as an option here. So like all the settings that you have are basically, I made the same in Cables. And so now what we have is just a simple sidebar that will allow us to create a prompt. And the thing we want to do is that if we are successful, so when this thing is finished, we want to get the image, because you can generate many at once, but let's say we generate just one image. So an image, I don't know, of futuristic Android 4K high res, whatever prompt you want here. So this is running. I use the seed as -1, so it's generate a random seed online. You have the progress, and hopefully at the end we will get an image. What I want to do is that if we are successful and I can actually pick the image, then I want to download. This is the other op that I did, and I want to be able to download it. So it's finished. Okay, it's a bit slow, right? What I get here, the API basically gives me an URL with the J. So I just then in the second time use the texture, and the texture itself can fetch from a remote URL, and then I'm just displaying it. But I wanted to also be able to save it on my computer. So I made this op, and these two ops are shared with you on the GitHub. I'll show you after. But if you create an image, you need to set a name to save it on your own computer. So what I did is that I'm just randomly generating a number, and I'm concatenating it with the prompt. So I'm transforming the prompt with this MD5 function. So it takes any string and it creates a hash like this. But if you want several variations with the same prompt, then it will always create the same hash. So this is why I just prepend a number, so that makes sure that the hash is going to be a bit different. And then I'm just using this op, which is called download image, and I'm literally putting the path, something that you could not do before with the Cables op, the path that I want here in my folder. So let's check again. And it's also smart enough to be able to create the subdirectory. So let's say YouTube here, and it's gonna create the YouTube folder if it's not there, and then save the image in it. So let's see if I can go here, in projects, assets, and let's see when it's finished. You'll see that the folder should be you see, created in real time. I open it and I have my image right here. So this op is not that complex, but it uses, once again, like other libraries that are built in Node.js that you cannot have in Cables. So I hope that this example showed you the possibility of Cables standalone. Think of connecting to different sensors. It could be your PS5 controller that you link to your Windows computer or like Mac OS. It could be to create a server, automation, right? Something that you want to run everything every day at this hour. I want to move files on my computer. This is something that is now enabled by the standalone version. So this is very exciting. And of course, I would be really eager to see what you guys can do with it. And I think the whole Cables team would be happy to see. They are really working on this full time for a few more months. And they want to implement other cool features to make sure that the experience on the standalone is really as good as what we have on the online version. And once again, last thing, by having a fixed version of Cables, you can also make sure that what you have coded here would work forever. I mean, as long as Windows can run this version of Node.js and this executable. But this is a main difference with the standalone compared to the browser version, because the browser version, all the ops are going evolving. The package are changing. It's like normal for a software. But the issue is that when you deploy this in your museum and you don't want to touch it for 10 years, then you make sure that you need a fixed version of all the libraries. And having a standalone version allows you to do just that. As promised, I will now show you where I store my newly coded ops for Cables standalone. You just go on GitHub / and the Decode.gl organization / ops. For now it's private, but I'm gonna put this in public right now. So you have the proof. Up, change to public. Yes, I understand. I need to validate this. And so once this is finished, you will be able to clone the ops as you did before. Remember that online we use the team, so you have to be part of the team to be able to access the ops. But here, because there's no concept of teams or the Cables team doing anything with this, I've just shared my ops as a repository. So don't just forget to clone this and add the repository to your Cables standalone. And once you have it there, don't forget to install, because now the ops need to get their libraries if we need the libraries for the ops. And here, make sure if you have any questions or comments, or you want me to add new ops, it's like the same thing online. Don't forget to join our Discord, chat with me, and I'll be happy to add new things. We for now managing two different repository of ops, one online and one local. But in the near future, I know that we will have a nice way to synchronize the two, and probably we'll have only like a GitHub repository that syncs automatically, if possible, if the ops are for the browser online. But until then, you will have all you need right here. So I hope that you like this concept of Cable standalone, that you like this video. And if it's the case, don't forget to like, share all the things that you do with other YouTube videos. It really helps the channel going, because it's a bit slow right now. And I'll see you in the next video.